have a question break in the middle, and we will of course take questions at the end. Okay. Here's my little reminder to record. Thank you for joining us for this session about setting up your Chromebook and Hotspot from SFUSD. My name is Kate Eppler. I actually work for San Francisco Public Library, and I'm here with Lake Raymond and Steve Kessel from the Technology Department at SFUSD. Would you guys like to say hello?
Hello.
Hi, good to be here today.
We have experts in the house, so this is a great time to ask any questions you may have about using your Chromebook and setting up your hotspot. Today, we will cover setting up that hotspot, what is a Chromebook generally, and how to get going, log it in, and connect it to your SFUSD Wi-Fi hotspot. So what is a hotspot? A mobile Wi-Fi hotspot uses the network of a cell phone provider to broadcast a Wi-Fi signal. So the hotspot gives you a Wi-Fi network that you can use to connect your SFUSD Chromebook to the internet. You may have a hotspot if you requested one from your school. The hotspots were distributed one per household to families with no internet at home. If you did not receive a hotspot and you need one, please contact your school to see if one is available for you. And I am just realizing that I forgot to talk about translation for today. I'm so sorry. Translators, interpreters, would you like to say hello?
Buenas tardes, ¿qué tal? El Distrito Escolar Unificado de San Francisco ofrece servicios de interpretación en el idioma español. Para unirse a la plática virtual en Google Meets, por favor, marque el siguiente número telefónico. 1-518-897-9100 con el número de PIN 464-779-126 seguido de la tecla numeral. Repito, 518-897-9100, número de PIN 464-779-126 seguido de la tecla numeral. Gracias.
Thank you for that. Good evening, everyone. San Francisco Unified School District will be providing free interpretation services tonight in Spanish and Cantonese. So if you know someone that needs Spanish or Cantonese interpretation, please have them call the following numbers. For Spanish, please call 1-518-897-9100. And when prompted, please enter PIN number 464-779. 126 pound. And this message will be repeated in Cantonese and was spoken in Spanish just a bit ago. 大家好，三藩市聯合區係會有呢個免費嘅廣東話嘅傳譯服務嘅，所以如果你需要廣東話傳譯服務嘅話咧，請打電話到1321-586-2461，然後輸入密碼559-735-791唔該 Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, interpreters. Thank you so much for being here today. So, what is a hotspot? As we mentioned, a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot uses a cell phone network to provide you with Wi-Fi, and you may have one from the school if you have no internet at home already. SFUSD Chromebooks will connect to any Wi-Fi network, so you don't need a hotspot from the school to use your Chromebook if you do have Wi-Fi at home. If you do not have Wi-Fi at home and you need a hotspot, please contact your school to see if one is available for you. A little bit more about the hotspots. You can connect up to 5 devices to them at one time. So the Chromebook can be connected, maybe a tablet or a phone can be connected. And another thing, there's no limit to how much you can use it. So it's not going to run out of Wi-Fi. There are 2 types of hotspots the SFUSD has to give out. One of them uses AT&T's cell phone network. One of them uses Verizon's cell phone network. They look a little different, but they work the same. So today we're going to cover how to start them up, and how to connect them. Here is a short video about how to get going with your AT&T hotspot if you have one of those. So the first step is activating the hotspot, and the second step is connecting it to your Chromebook. Turn on the hotspot by pressing the button on the top until the screen lights up. It may take a minute or two to warm up and start sending out Wi-Fi. Now you're going to look for the name of your Wi-Fi network and the password on the device. And to find that, you press the button on the top of the hotspot again to make the first network name display. That's the 2.41. Press it again to see your 5G network. This is the one you want to use, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Next step is to open your Chromebook. On the bottom right corner of the screen, click on the Wi-Fi icon. And then click where it says not connected to search for available networks. And you'll find the name of your hotspot in that list. In the window that appears to join the network, click the password that you saw on the hotspot, and then click the blue connect button in the corner. Here you can see your network name. Your Chromebook is now connected to the hotspot. Disregard that notice about service at the end of August. It's extended. Okay, so to review, as you saw in the video, the first step to getting going with your AT&T hotspot is turning it on. Push and hold the power button on the top of the device until the screen lights up. Once the hotspot is turned on, you're going to push that power button again, but just one push at a time. As you push that button, the device will cycle through information on the screen until you see the network name and password that you're looking for. The first one you'll see is the 2.4G network. Skip that one and press again for information about the 5G network. The 5G network will give you faster speeds than the 2.4, so that's the one you want to use. You may see a message on the screen that says ATT Wi-Fi Manager. You can just ignore that. That setting has been disabled. You also may see some message about a 10-day billing cycle. You can ignore that as well. It will not interrupt your service. Now let's look briefly at how to get started with one of the Verizon hotspots.
Let's learn how to connect your Verizon hotspot to a Chromebook. There are two steps. First, you activate the hotspot, then connect it to the Chromebook. Let's begin by turning on your hotspot. Press the button on the bottom until the display turns on. While the device is turning on, it will cycle through settings information. After about 30 seconds, the Verizon G4 LTE message displays. You will also see the battery indicator and a signal bar. To find the Wi-Fi name for the device, press the button on the bottom twice, and a third time to see the password. You will use the device name and password to connect the hotspot to the Chromebook. Now, let's connect the Chromebook to the hotspot. If you've never used your Chromebook before, Visit the link provided on the screen for setup instructions. If you've already set up your Chromebook, keep watching. Turn on your Chromebook. On the bottom right corner of the screen, click on the Wi-Fi icon. Look for the name of the hotspot. Click it, and in the Join Network window, enter the password found on the hotspot. Click the Connect button. The Chromebook is now connected to the hotspot.
Okay, so just to review, here's how to get going with the Verizon hotspot. As you saw in the video, you press and hold the power button on the device for about 2 seconds until it turns on. And then your Wi-Fi network name and password will appear on the hotspot screen. If you miss them or you need to find them again, anytime the device is already on, you can press that power button once and they'll display again. So let's talk a little bit about connecting to Wi-Fi. Once you've got your hotspot on and turned on and ready to go, you're ready to connect your Chromebook to the Wi-Fi. There are a couple of different ways to do this. We're going to go over 2 of them today. You want to turn on your Chromebook and open it up. In the bottom right-hand corner of your Chromebook screen, you'll see the time of day. Next to the time of day is a little indicator that looks like a battery. It shows you the strength of the battery, how much power is left in it. And then next to that is an empty triangle icon. That is your Wi-Fi symbol. If the triangle is just an empty outline, it means you're not yet connected to Wi-Fi. But if the triangle happens to be shaded in and you see your network name below it, that means you're already connected. Lucky you. If it's an empty outline, you want to click on it and your settings menu will appear. Click on the words not connected below that empty triangle outline in order to see a list of available networks. Your Chromebook will look for Wi-Fi signals in the area and it should see the one that your hotspot is emitting. If you have an AT&T hotspot, it will say ATT, Wi-Fi, numbers, letters. If you have a Verizon hotspot, it will say ellipsis jetpack, numbers, letters. When you find your network name and the name that you saw on the hotspot, you click on it, and then you'll be prompted to enter the password that you saw on your hotspot screen. So at this point, let's take a quick break for questions. I know that we're on a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to give it just a moment. If you have a question, please type it into the comment section chat box below this video, and we will see it there.
We do have one question that has come up twice in the chat already, and that's regarding how to get a hotspot. So if you currently do not have a hotspot and do not have Wi-Fi at home available for your student, the best way to receive a device is through your school. So please contact or reach out to your school site administrators and they'll be able to best assist you in getting a hotspot device for your student.
Thank you, Lake.
One other option as well is to visit sfusd.edu/internet. I'm going to put that in the chat. Hi, everyone. This is Steve talking. I'll put that in the chat as well, because even if you don't qualify for a hotspot, or if you live in an area where a hotspot just doesn't work because it requires cell tower signal to work, there are other options for you as well. And many of them are affordable. Some are even free. So there's that. There is a question in the chat about getting a Chromebook to work. And that kind of a question is usually hard to answer this way, where there's the delay and there's the chat. I think the best way to go with that is to call or contact the student and family resource link. We'll put that in the chat as well so that you can get more if not live support, at least more attentive support than we can offer through the YouTube chat.
Great. Yeah, please do reach out to that Family Link number. That's a wonderful resource. Okay, if that's all of our questions so far, let us move on to Chromebooks. So we're going to talk about the Chromebooks that you got from SFUSD, what they are, how they work, and how to get them logged on for students in all grades. A Chromebook is basically like a laptop that relies on the internet to store files and run programs. Chromebooks only work when they are connected to the internet. So while a laptop would store and run lots of software programs, and it would need frequent updating, and it would store files, you can save files to it, and it needs virus protection, and it's expensive, a Chromebook is less expensive, never needs to be updated. It stores files using Google's servers that can be accessed anywhere. It has malware and virus protection built in, and it cannot work without the internet. You have to connect to internet to get it going. So I have, I'm the parent of an SFUSD kindergartner, and I have my kid's Chromebook here. He's a little jealous that I have it. But this video also sort of does a good overview of what the Chromebooks look like. So we're going to watch that for a moment and also see how to get logged in to Chromebooks for grades PK through 2.
Welcome to Getting Started with Chromebooks. In order to turn on your Chromebook, you can simply open the lid. If it doesn't power on, you can also select the power button on the side of the Chromebook. In the evenings, you can charge it by inserting the charging plug. We recommend that you charge it centrally so it won't disturb anyone while you're sleeping. These Chromebooks can open and close and fold all the way back to become more like a tablet. Once you open your Chromebook and turn it on, you'll need to connect to Wi-Fi. You'll select your network and then enter the password. Or you can also click in the lower right on the Wi-Fi symbol to choose your network. Next, you'll log in with the Clever badge for your student. You'll hit the blue button for Next and then hold up your Clever badge in front of the camera. You may need to move it around so the camera can see it properly. When it reads it, you'll get a green check and enter the Chromebook. You can also log in with your student Google account. If you need to find out your student Google account, you can ask your teacher or look it up in Parent View. To log in with an account, you'll enter the student email address, click Next, and then enter the password. These Chromebooks have touch screens, which means you can touch right on the screen to manipulate the information on the Chromebook. You can also use the trackpad to move the pointer around the screen. When you're looking at your Chromebook screen, you'll see a browser will be open and tabs will be across the top. These have different pages that are open, for example, Clever and Zoom. If you'd like to open a new page, you can click on the plus button. On the bottom of the page, you'll also find shortcuts to common applications that you'll use, such as Google Chrome, Kids A through Z, Seesaw, and Zoom. If you run into any problems with your Chromebooks, follow these steps. First, plug in your Chromebook to make sure it's charged. Then try closing and opening the top. And you can also try restarting your Chromebook by holding down the power button, waiting until it turns black, and then clicking the power button again. If you have any additional questions, please go to the Family Link at familylink.sfusd.edu, or you can email your request to familylink@sfusd.edu, or you can call 415-340-1716. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the Chromebook. Here's the one I borrowed from my child. You can see where you would plug it in for power, a headphone jack, very handy, volume buttons on the side, The one thing I just want to be sure to say is that by pressing buttons and using it, you won't break it. The only way to break it is to drop it or step on it, or put it in the bathtub. But don't be afraid to click around and open it up. There's nothing you can do using the keyboard or the touchpad that's going to hurt the Chromebook. Just don't spill on it. So we saw earlier how to log your Chromebook onto the Wi-Fi by clicking on the time of day in the bottom right-hand corner and pulling up the settings menu. When you open your Chromebook, there's another way you might get onto Wi-Fi. You might see a big window on your screen that says network not available and has a little drop-down menu with a downward arrow right there on that. If you click on that arrow, it should display a list of available networks. And then you would see your Wi-Fi or hotspot network name, click on it, and type in the password. After you've done that, as you saw in the video, pre-K through second graders will be prompted to log in with their Clever badge. The Clever badge is a square QR code, looks like a collage of black and white squares. You probably picked it up with your Chromebook. If you don't have your Clever badge, please contact your school. So after you sign in to the Wi-Fi, you'll see a blue button that says Next. Click on that button and a camera window appears on your Chromebook. You hold the QR code, your Clever badge, up to the camera, and your Chromebook reads the information embedded in that badge and automatically logs your student in. If you don't have your Clever badge, you can wait just a moment, and the screen will eventually prompt you to log in with your SFUSD Gmail account instead. So once you've logged in, you've shown it the badge, it moves you on. Your students' portal on Clever and Seesaw will open so that students can access their coursework. For grades 3 through 12, they're going to log in with SFUSD email. So once the Chromebook has connected to Wi-Fi, it will prompt you to log in with your SFUSD student email account and password. Only SFUSD student accounts will be able to log into these Chromebooks. If you don't have your student's email and password, you can find it by logging into Parent View or by contacting your child's teacher or school. So you enter the school email address, including the @ sign and the s.sfusd.edu after the @ sign. And you click on the blue button for Next. It will ask for your email password. This is different from the Wi-Fi password that you found earlier. This is the password that goes with your email account. Passwords, as you know, must always be typed exactly right. When you see that icon in the password box that looks like an eyeball, clicking on that eyeball will show you what you're typing, and this can help you avoid mistakes in typing your password. After you log on to the Chromebook, you can open the Chrome browser to access your school pages. So before we move on to more questions, if there are more questions, I cannot resist the opportunity to pitch some library stuff because I work for San Francisco Public Library. So I do want to let you know that all sorts of free classes and events are available at sfpl.org/events. We have story times, we have author talks, we have STEM programs for kids. There are also technology classes, including one coming up on Tuesday about using Google Docs, which might come in handy. In addition, you can access free online tutoring from sort of virtual tutors through BrainFuse. Tutors, professional tutors, are standing by to help from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. You can get to BrainFuse from sfpl.org/e-learning, and then you'll log in with your library card number and PIN, and you can get help in a variety of school subjects. Ebooks, you probably have heard about Hoopla. There are other ebook providers from the library as well. It's all free with your library card number. You go to sfpl.org/ebooks, you'll see a list of what's available. You can read them in an app, on a phone, or on a computer. And I do want to make sure everyone knows about Canopy, which is free streaming video with your library card. Great movies, documentaries, educational programs, and there's even a Canopy Kids section with sort of animated story times of some of our favorite books. It's really fun. You can access it from the app or from a website. The website is sfpl.canopy.com. And almost everything I talked about, except for those classes, you're going to want your library card number and PIN. If you have any questions about those, you can call us at 415-557-4400. All SFUSD students have a library card, and we can help you figure out what that might be, what the PIN number is, so you can get going on these resources. And finally, SFUSD has provided a tremendous amount of technology help. There are YouTube playlists of videos about getting to know your Chromebook and using some of the tools that you'll be using this year in school. These webinars are available. There are technology FAQs, and there's also the place to sign up and get some of that one-on-one help. I'm just gonna, the link in the middle is a great one-stop shop for students, where you'll see sort of a menu of information about a lot of the tools that you'll be using this year. So do check it out. And of course, if you would like some one-on-one assistance, the number is conveniently at the bottom, 415-340-1716. You can email them or fill out an online form to request as well. So I hope while I was running through that, you guys were typing questions into the comment box. Do we have any questions?
Hi, Kate. This is Lake. We do have some questions that I want to address. A couple that have come up, and Steve, feel free to jump in if I say something that's completely incorrect. But one question that we had come up was around the Wi-Fi signal of Hotspot. So if you do have a hotspot, just making sure that the Wi-Fi signal, you can either, as we said in the chat, you can either plug in the hotspot to the Chromebook using the USB, or you want to make sure that you're in a good place, because the cell signal, the Wi-Fi hotspot uses cell signal. So if you have poor cell signal in your home or in the space that your student is working, that's going to be reflected in the Wi-Fi connectivity. Additionally, if you have more than one hotspot, they might be canceling each other out if they're too close together. So that's also an important thing to know. And we had another question about—
And actually, before we go on to that, Lake, oh, by the way, if you have more than one hotspot from the district, please turn one back, because we need it for other students. And we're asking, anyway, if you can do without it, because we really do need them. But the hotspots come with a little USB plug that you put into the charger, right? So that you've connected the hotspot to the wall to charge overnight. But you can actually use that same plug to connect to your Chromebook, and then connect directly and not use Wi-Fi at all. You just have to remember to turn your Wi-Fi off, go into the settings of the Chromebook where it says Wi-Fi, and then turn that off, or else the Chromebook won't notice that you've plugged into a connection. It will still be using Wi-Fi even though you're directly connected. But if the Wi-Fi is off, it will search around for another internet signal, and it will find it through that wire that you've connected it with. I know that works for the AT&T hotspots. I hope it works for the Verizon one. I just haven't tested it with that one. So that is another option if you keep getting dropped by the Wi-Fi and you're sure that it's not the cell tower, but it's the actual Wi-Fi. Someone else had asked about whether or not you can block sites. And for one thing, please do know that if a student is logged into a district Chromebook and is using a hotspot, we already have strong filters that the child must go through that filters out as much garbage content and as much inappropriate or adult content as we can. However, there are folks that still want to add additional controls to that. And a couple options, if you're using your own carrier like Verizon, I'm sorry, if you're using your own carrier like Comcast or AT&T, they often have parental controls that if you call their help desk, call their customer service, they'll help you turn those customer controls on so you can block sites. If you are using a district Chromebook, we currently do not have software that allows you to block specific sites. We would have to block them for everyone in the district. And then you can see why that would be difficult. We're looking into options that would enable parents to have more controls. But that is a process to find those options. It costs money. That means money must be taken from other places where it's needed. It means there's a process of, checking for data privacy and getting a contract approved. So that's not going to be an immediate solution, but we definitely are looking into that, and we know it's important to a lot of parents. Anything to add, Lake?
No, I think that was a good overview. We do have a couple of more questions that popped up. Mike asked, let me find your question, Mike. Is there a fix for students using the Chromebook to edit share screens? And I believe the situations that teachers are having students share screen and allow other students to edit their classmates' screen. And I haven't heard of that before. I'm wondering if they're using Google Docs or G Suite, something in there where you're in a shared document and you're able to collaborate with your classmates. So maybe, Mike, if you can provide a little bit more clarity there, we can answer your question a little bit more specifically. Is that something you've heard of, Steve?
I have not. It's my understanding you need an actual extra bit of software or an add-on or a Chromebook app, which a teacher would have probably had to provide, and I just haven't even seen that kind of third-party software. It would not be approved by the district if it were somehow managed to get through, because we haven't vetted it for data privacy. So yeah, I haven't heard that one. I do know that sometimes students can present their screen or share screen in Meet or Zoom, and the teacher can also disable that feature. But students can't edit each other's screen if they're just presenting the screen, just like we cannot edit Kate's screen right now while she's presenting.
But we could go into the Google Slide document and manipulate that. So maybe that's what they're seeing on the other end.
It might be. I could change your slides around right now, Kate, since you shared them with me.
Don't do it.
I won't, I promise.
He says, I believe they were in a Zoom class meeting and sharing screens. Interesting. Maybe this is a Zoom feature.
It might be, as someone just used the pencil feature, that they have one of the either whiteboard or annotation tools active, and the teacher can turn that off. Otherwise, if that's on, students can have the ability to use those tools to mark up each other's work. Whoever did that smiley face, thank you.
And then we had one more question I see here from Danae. She says her hotspot was working, but now it says data usage is not available at this time. It still displays the password, which used to work, but now the Chromebook says bad password. That is a tricky one. I know that with that error message or with the data usage not available at this time, you should be able to just bypass that. But if you're getting the bad password from the Chromebook, do you have any suggestions for that, Steve? I haven't really encountered that one.
Could you say it again? Sorry, I was typing an answer to Mike Lee in the chat. Go ahead again.
No problem. So the question was, her hotspot or their hotspot used to work, but now it says data usage not available at this time. It still displays the password, which used to work, but now the Chromebook says that it has a bad, quote unquote, bad password.
For one thing, data usage not available this time is actually something you can ignore. What that means is that you're not able to see how much data you have used in this billing cycle, which, because we're paying the bill, you don't have to worry about that. I'm not sure why it would say bad password, but one thing that you could try is go into the Chromebook or the settings for the laptop, depending on the device, and have it forget that user and have it forget that Wi-Fi network and just try again. Well, yeah, and just try again. You might not need to forget the user, but at least have it forget the network and pretend you're starting from scratch with the network. That has worked for some people.
And I can definitely say that I'm really bad at typing in passwords. So if you think that it might also be just typing in the password incorrectly, after you've forgotten the network and you reconnect, make sure you tap on the little eye icon so that you can see the password as you type it in. Case sensitive, making sure you're including all the letters as well, because that's something that I do all the time, and I'm wondering, like, why is it not working? And it's me. So that's another thing I would suggest to do. And if you have continued issue after that, the family resource link, family and student resource link is always very helpful in helping you troubleshoot your technology issues.
Thank you, guys. Are there any further questions?
I don't see any new ones in the chat. I'll give it a moment because a couple of folks, we got a couple more folks signing on. But yeah, I think for right now, doesn't look like any new questions.
All right, and because I know you're about to get started, Kate, I have to duck out at 6:40 to go to Malcolm X's back to school night virtually. So if I don't get to see all of you, thanks for having us and enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Thanks, Steve.
Actually, we're all done.
Yeah, I think we're good to go.
Yeah, that's time. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Do look for future webinars.
Thank
Coming
you.
soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.